Christmas of 1966, and a friend of mine, we were going into the school to actually steal typewriters. We heard these girls in the auditorium. We peeped in, and before we could walk away, the teacher saw us and said, "Oh, great, we have some guys, come on in." And we reluctantly walked down the aisle to the stage, and it was actually a drama class. And they were putting on a play for Christmas. Me and this guy, Ralph, we were sort of thrust into this play. And I have fond memories about that because whenever I think of myself as an actor, it brings a smile to my face. Actually going to steal something and you find yourself while on the stage, you know, playing Santa Claus.
I know how easy it is and how good it feels just to stand on a corner with a couple of dollars in the pocket that you've gotten one way or the other, and you say, well, this is a life. You know, you keep your one suit clean or whatever it is, but you're actually doing nothing and you're getting very, very bored. And for me, that's sort of like a person waiting for death.
I can hear it.
As a kid growing up and as a young adult in and out of prisons, I had no sense of a humanity, period, you know. My mind was locked up into my 3-block radius in my neighborhood. And nothing outside of that radius mattered because it didn't affect me, or at least I thought it didn't affect me.
It is very important to see the world, see its width and its breadth and its depth, beyond the soap opera, beyond the evening series. Very important to see China and to know that you belong there, and to see Britain and know you belong there, and to see Africa and know that you belong there.
There is a language that all people understand, no matter what country, what color, what religion. It is the language of the arts. The music we hear, the books and poetry we read, the pictures and sculptures we see, the dancers and actors we watch. It is a language we can all speak. It helps us communicate to others the combination of ideas and emotions that make each of us unique. It is through the arts that we come to know ourselves and each other better. And it is this sharing of our souls and our spirits that gives us the power to change the world.
One of the best ways to manage your life is to try to understand those things that affect your life the most. And one of the ways to do that is to read, and to just read and read and read and read. Don't ever stop reading. We live in a global environment, a world that is being brought closer every day by the media and by communications, if you will. And understanding not just what you see on the television, but understanding the reason for the headlines and digging in beneath the headlines. It's going to be increasingly more important in the future. So I think it's just an exciting world that we live in, and communications has brought that world a little bit closer together. It certainly has inspired, I think, a lot of people to fight for their own freedom. That, I think, is a blessing.
Keep on walking.
My bedroom window faced the Maryland State Penitentiary. And every morning when I woke up, that would be what I looked out to, this big black Gothic structure. And I knew one day I would be in there.
Keep on walking home. Oh, good God.
30 years ago, Charles S. Dutton believed only in what he could see from his window, not what was possible, not what could be if he believed in himself. Today, he is star of his own TV program and has been nominated for 2 major acting awards. He turned his life around, but it was a long road.
I started out at 12 years old in reform school. I went to reform school at 12, at 14, and at 15. And they were for an assortment of charges, truancy, being ungovernable, basically not listening, and being defiant. I thought it was more happening on the street corner than in the classroom. And so consequently, I just sort of fell into this thing. And at 17, I killed a guy. We got into a fight. It was a typical Friday night fight at a party. And we got into what I would consider a nice little scrape. And then he pulled a knife and stabbed me several times. I wrestled the knife from him and stabbed him. And I lived and he died. One of the things all my buddies told me after I killed this guy was, welcome to the club. Because everybody else had killed someone, you know? And then you find yourself being congratulated, you know, and you don't know how sick or unhealthy that is at the time. It took me years to accept and take responsibility for the destruction I had caused to this guy personally and to my own community. I was in my 4th year of the 7.5-year sentence. And at the time of those 4 years, I was totally getting in trouble all the time. I was on what they call the prison list of pay him no attention. In other words, if you did something in prison, it was just, oh, that was just that Dutton, you know, leave him alone, he's crazy. And the guard asked me to clean up the toilets or something, and I refused. And I was sentenced to 6 days in what they call isolation, which is a 5-by-7 room with no toilet, there's no light. And, you know, a lot of people commit suicide there. A lot of people go crazy. Before I went into isolation, I was allowed to take 1 book. And a girlfriend of mine had sent me a book of plays. It was an anthology of black playwrights. And so I took that in, and they strip you naked, the entire dehumanization process. And so they slam you in there, and they close the door. And the only light that comes in to the room is the light that actually seeps under the door. So for the first day and a half, you go through that suicidal period where, you know, you just want to die. You don't get fed, and your body's cold, and the floor's, you know, horrible. I mean, it's dried feces on the floor or whatever. And then you find yourself a soft spot after 36 hours. Your body makes the adjustments. Your mind makes the adjustments. Your spirit makes the adjustments, and you handle it. I think the second day, or the 48th hour, I started to read from this book of plays. And I read this play called Day of Absence by a writer named Douglas Turner Ward. This play was so hilarious that in the reading of this particular play, I actually spiritually left the isolation room, you know. I just wasn't there. I didn't feel the cold floor. I didn't feel the muscle ache. I didn't smell the stench. I was gone somewhere in the reading of this play. And I read all the plays, the book cover to cover. And I decided at that point, when that door opened, I met all my buddies and all my friends. And this is no disrespect to them, but all those guys appeared to me as if to be dinosaurs. That they were still living in sort of a prehistoric kind of existence. And I had elevated into this world of wisdom to want to read and think about life and the world. And this one simple little play did all this for me.
He began to concentrate on his education. He earned his high school diploma and a 2-year college degree while still in prison.
Looking back on it now, all the guys I knew who stayed in school at the time, who we considered chumps and uncool and suckers and all that stuff, and it was just so smart of them to do that, because these are the guys who stayed out of prison.
When he was released, he enrolled in undergraduate school. Then he decided he had nothing to lose by applying to Yale Drama School. He was accepted.
I had a lot of buddies who were still hustling drugs and driving BMWs and wearing cheap, expensive jewelry. And it was difficult because here was no money, no apartment, with that pull of come on back into this life. And I told myself something simple, but turned out to be profound, that what else do I need to know about prison life? I have a PhD in that. There was nothing else I needed to know about gangs, about hanging on the street corner, about drinking wine on the street corner, about drug addiction, a drug life. I mean, I knew this, you know? So I said to myself, well, I've spent 15, 20 years of doing negative activities. Let me take just a couple of years to focus on something positive and see what happens. Whenever some friends of mine would drive up in a fancy car and say, hey, you want to ride up to the school? And I would say, no, I'll catch the bus. And I wasn't used to catching buses. I was used to riding in fancy cars myself. But the thing was, I didn't want to be in anyone's car if the cops decided to pull them over and search them, or if someone who was deciding to kill them that day rode up to their car, and because I was sitting in the car too, although they didn't have a beef with me, they said, well, Charles is in the car, but he's got to go too. And these things happen every day, at least in my community. So I took it as a challenge to myself to see if I was really serious about myself and my life. That if I could do this for 2 years, I didn't know what the results were going to be. I didn't know if 2 years later I'd be out of school and back on the street corner, but I made a decision that for at least 2 to 3 years, I was going to take another path of positive activity and see what happens.
Love you, rock.
Oh, thanks. And the beauty of it all is that after 20 years of negative stuff, when I decided to turn it around and do something positive, one good thing happened after the next, and it's still happening.
If there's someone in your community who is doing well in business or a profession that you admire, say, I like what you're doing, and I want to be something great, and you could help me. Would you be my mentor? When I was a young agent in Chicago, about, I guess I was in my early 20s, and I met this gentleman on the elevator. He was a businessman in his 50s, and we used to chat on the elevator and in the coffee shop. Found out that he was owner of a number of major real estate developments in downtown Chicago. He was a millionaire, and I thought I would like for him to help me. So I asked him, I said, Bill, I want to be half as great as you are, and you're a great person, the things you've done. If I could do half of those things, I would consider my life a success from a professional standpoint. And I'd like to take, if you will, a shortcut and learn from your experiences. Bill, would you help me? Bill not only helped me, he took me under his arms, and I did a lot of his own personal financial planning. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. You got to find a little, you know, I guess a crack in the door and take advantage of it. But you really have to work at it, whether they're obvious out there or not. I think you got to just be creative.
I'm a writer. That's what I do. I write books and movies and television, films and series and essays and articles. I write. That's what I really do. And writing is the same as reading in an interesting way. That is to say, a writer has to take a few nouns, some pronouns, some adjectives, some adverbs, some connectives, ball them all together and throw them against the farthest wall and insist that they bounce. The writer has to use words to try to make people laugh, to make them weep, to make them want to go to war, or make them long for peace. That is exactly what a reader does. A reader has to take those words, those adjectives and nouns and pronouns and verbs, and put them all together and create within her own mind a sentence or an idea, an image that may have been written about 300 years ago. It's fascinating.
Maya Angelou took the title of her first autobiography from the poem Sympathy by Paul Laurence Dunbar. I know why the cage bird sings, ah me, when his wing is bruised and his bosom sore, when he beats his bars and he would be free. It is not a carol of joy or glee.
When I began writing, I began because I couldn't speak. I had been a mute from the time I was 7.5 until I was almost 13. I could speak, but I refused to. And the reason for that is that at 7.5, I had been raped. I was going to say badly, but all rapes are bad rapes. I was told by the rapist if I told his name, he was a friend of the family, if I told anyone his name, that he would kill my brother, who I adored. My brother was 1.5 years, 2 years older than I. And so I tried to keep it to myself, but my brother insisted. He said, you must tell me. So he was about 9. And I said, but if I tell you, the man will kill you. He said, I won't let him kill me. Well, I believed anything he said, so I told the man's name. The man was put in jail and released the next day, and the following day he was found dead. And the police said it looked as if he had been kicked to death. So I, at 7.5, using my 7.5-year-old wisdom, I decided that my voice had killed the man, and that if I used my voice, it might just kill anybody. So I decided to stop speaking. And I stopped speaking for 5.5 years. Now, I did read. And in reading, I thought, well, if Shakespeare can write, and Langston Hughes, and if James Weldon Johnson can write, and Charles Dickens, so can I. So I started writing some of the worst poetry you will ever hear of. But at least I started trying. I loved words. And in particular, I loved to hear black preachers, Southern black preachers speak. And I loved the spirituals. Oh, the lines in the spirituals could just make me weep. I didn't know anything about God, really. But I did know that that was beauty when a person sang, "Deep river, my home is over Jordan." I would just sit in the church and I would think, oh my God, I had no idea about God, but I loved the speech, the language, the words were pure poetry.
A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream till the current ends, and dips his wings in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. The caged bird sings a fearful trill of things unknown, but longed for still, and his tune is heard on the distant hill, for the caged bird sings of freedom.
My name is Rose Flowers. Rose T. Flowers. Can anyone guess what the T stands for? It stands for tulip. Rose Tulip Flowers. Don't you think that with a name like that, I should have been a gardener? Or a florist? But I preferred teaching.
Mrs. Flowers started me to reading, and I read every book in the black school library. And then I started reading the books in the white school library because she had some contact with the white school librarian. And that's when I started to think of the world as larger than my particular reach.
One of the things I hope you will learn is that stamps is just one place in Arkansas. And Arkansas is one place in the United States. And the United States is one place in the North American continent. And the North American continent is just one place in the world.
Understand this, young men and women. If you know nothing else in your lives, at least hear this. Do not allow anyone to narrow your world down to a few blocks, or a city, or a town, or a neighborhood, or a state. You are a human being. Nothing human should be alien to you.
The education process never stops. And it's not just skills to have you perform in a particular job, it is the world, understanding people, the various peoples in the world. If you are fortunate enough to ever travel, whether or not I'm talking about traveling internationally or traveling beyond your neighborhood or traveling beyond your city limits, it's all an education process. The creative process is not enough for you to be successful. Thinking of new things, of new ways of getting something done, of how to save money, how to market better. Whatever that process is, I don't quite understand that creative process. Some people have it, some people don't. Some people can just stay on something for so long that they work themselves to something that's new. Other people, it just kind of blossoms in their mind. But however you reach that point where someone can say that's a creative thought, that's a creative approach, the issue doesn't stop there. You have to have the creativity, then you have to have the discipline to implement. And I've seen too many people who are creative, have no discipline to implement, and so the creative idea goes off in the dust. You can talk a lot about it, but you don't achieve anything. And to me, that's very unfortunate because that's a waste of this intellect and creativity that people have. Discipline is the structure upon which performance is based. Without the discipline, without knowing that you have to go home and do your homework and not go out and play, without knowing that if you're involved in sports and you have to practice instead of going out and playing around, without that kind of discipline, you will not reach your optimum performance.
All over the world as the walls crumble, hope rises. Nelson Mandela glories in the words, in the beat, in the melody, in the joy, in the victory, in the conquest. There's no turning back. Let freedom ring. Lift every voice and sing until the power comes down. Let the power come down.
Teamwork is creative in that you're getting ideas, suggestions, recommendations from all team members that are involved. And we all come from different backgrounds, different experiences, so we're going to shed a different perspective. There is no one way to do anything. There are many, many different ways. It's kind of like baking a cake. I can build it from scratch, or I can do it from a box, still get a cake. And I think it's the same way. There are many ways with our work here. There is no one right way. There are several ways, and what I hope for is that with recommendations, proposals that I come up with, and other team members come up with, together we throw all that in the hat, and together we come out with something that's really great. We have a lot of newness here, new technology, new people systems. Growing up with Saturn and from a project into a corporation has eliminated that fear for me. I'm comfortable being uncomfortable, if you will.
When you think about the opportunities that a person has in this country in terms of using their energies along with an education, the knowledge, that they could in fact become a professional working person. They could become a great carpenter. They could become a great electrician. But it takes studying.
Growing up, William Henry Cosby Jr. loved to make people laugh. He was bright and interested, but not in education. In 10th grade, he dropped out of school and enlisted in the Navy, where he realized he had a gift for learning and communicating. He decided to put them together and went back to school. He ended up at Temple University, where he played right halfback on the football team. He might even have played in the NFL if he hadn't started telling jokes at a local coffee house for $5 a night.
Now, you may say that I'm crazy, but when I was a kid, I hated to take a bath because I had to clean out the ring around the bathtub, which is a drag to me because you're all clean. Now you got to get the cleanser and bend over and clean out the tub. So I got the brilliant idea, why not bathe in the toilet bowl?
People laughed, and he knew where he belonged.
I've been in this business pretty close to 30 years. When I started out, $60 a week, 6 days a week. And even though it was 1963, I just accepted the job as a stand-up comedian because I wanted to do that. I knew that this place I was going to work at would give me a place to work. And with all of the wonderful subjects I had studied at Temple University, they all helped me to write, formulate ideas, put it on paper, and then stand up and say it.
Now, the problem with bathing in the toilet bowl is that the water is cold. That's where Russell comes in. I used to put Russell in the toilet bowl to heat up the water.
In 1966, a weekly show called I Spy changed the face of television. Bill Cosby became the first black person to co-star in a weekly dramatic series.
The weekend for the Wyon? You tell them. I told them we're doing a gangster movie, and if they look around, they'll see the bad guys coming.
His success made it possible for black actors to work in weekly series, drama or comedy, in roles not just written for blacks. He was proud of his success, but overwhelmed by its power.
This whole thing of a role model is something that needs to just disappear. Those of us who are in show business, some of us happen to be perfect people, but I would venture to say it's easier to fall out of love with a role model that comes from show business that you really don't know than it is for you to look at your role models in your house, the people who are working very, very hard to give you what you're asking for and what you want.
Hey. Let's do it our way.
Well, the gang did it. It took hard work, but no one's ever been a winner without hard work. As for Mr. Benson, he's found out that kids are willing to learn from older folks once they all understand each other. I wonder if, I guess, I could work on this. I could probably be great. And that's another thing. See, you keep saying you probably could without working at it, so I'm going to work at it.
With an education, it opens up more avenues for you. Yes, you'll get frustrated. Well, I have these credentials here, and I'm looking for a job. But even out of that, if you've really worked hard and put your mind into it, you are not going to accept someone else's no for an answer. If I'm working hard at comedy, and it's what I really want to do, and it's what I've studied to do, I can be frustrated, I can get tired, and get very angry, but I certainly am not going to quit.
What about all those stories that you tell us?
Oh, yes, Dad, all those stories we've come to find out are not true.
No,
From Grandpa.
What, who said, from who?
Grandpa.
You gonna believe a man that age?
Dad, how come every single time one of us ever came to you for money, you started talking about this story? You know, when I was 7 years old, I used to have to wake up at 4:30 every morning.
Without an alarm clock. Couldn't afford an alarm clock.
Had to wake up by myself, had to get out and deliver newspapers.
But wait, you always have to brush your teeth first.
Had to brush my teeth. Didn't have the money for a toothbrush, so I had to get
Was it some bark, I believe it was.
No, it was a sassafras root.
Sassafras.
So I had no running water, so we had to go out and get a handful of snow.
I believe that it was winter 365 days of the year.
And every day the snow came up to here. I went to milk the cow. I had no bucket.
Or I didn't have any shoes either. No, didn't have shoes.
Well, I had to just squirt the milk in the palm of my hand. And I had to hop 3 miles through the house.
With no shoes.
Hopped on one foot to keep the other foot warm. And I ended up hopping from house to house.
Only made about, what, 7 cents a month, I believe?
I gave 5 cents to my parents, kept 2 cents to myself, and that's how I bought my first car.
What we want to do is, what you should do is strive for excellence. African-American children today who are college-bound, African-American children who are in high school should realize that with all of the civil rights, all of the marches, all of the people who wound up being murdered, and then the laughing trial that came about, these children happen to be the resources. They happen to be what fighting for the freedom was about. It just wasn't about the back of the bus. It was so these kids could have an education. I know that I certainly cannot measure what working hard academically did for me and turned my life around.
When I came along, there were not many options given to a person. I remember very well in high school, I was the best chemistry student in my class, and my teacher said, "You are so good, you know, you would make a good receptionist. You have a good voice, a good presentation." So not many options were revealed to me. Math was a very difficult subject for me. I am not a natural mathematician, and I could talk on and on about my struggles to get through not only high school, but grade school because of math. I don't like for something to give me a bad time. That is the thing that I will not leave alone. And the people, my teachers that I admired most and took the most time with me were my math teachers. And there was a certain rush. That's the only way I can describe it. It was a rush when I would conquer a math topic, and that caused me to major in it. To me, the education that I've gotten has made possible for me to achieve many dreams. It has enabled me to be in jobs that were not good for me and say, I don't have to stay here. I have options. I can go on and do something else.
Put your work in order. Stop thinking so much about playtime. And I think if they do that, they'll find that the more they work, the more they'll care about what they have done. And each time, it's a step. It's a step.
You can really overcome any obstacle that's put in front of you. I mean, it takes perseverance and focus and concentration and dedication and the will to do it, but you absolutely can. You know?
Try to imagine what life would be without you. You can't. You cannot, no matter how clever, no matter how creative. So now, try to imagine what life would be with you at your best.